Leaving a relationship is hard to do, and it's even harder to do when it's a dismissive avoidant. The hot and cold intermittent reinforcement is quite addictive, and it can form a trauma bond, and it can be so hard to break this bond. And add on top of it, you love and care about this person, and walking away from anybody that you love and care about is hard to do. But sometimes it does need to be done. So here are the top 5 signs that it's time to walk away from the dismissive avoidant. Number 5, when the cycle becomes apparent, the cycle of pulling away and coming back, or even completely disappearing, an abrupt discard, and then coming back. And it happens numerous times at a pretty predictable pace. This cycle, when it keeps on happening, is unlikely to stop without the avoidant taking radical accountability and really working towards change. And that cycle just produces so much anxiety and heartache, and it really can chip away at your self-esteem. Number 4, when they stop asking you for help or asking for advice or asking for anything from you, really. That's because a dismissive avoidant associates asking for help with vulnerability. And vulnerability is extremely unsafe for them. At least they feel like it is. And that's because this is a person that was on the receiving end of consistent childhood emotional neglect, growing up in households where their emotional needs were not met. Their physical needs were met, their emotional needs were not. And on top of that, they commonly had a parent that was very controlling and smothering, but not in a nurturing way. So they also associate closeness with getting smothered and losing your autonomy. So when they stop asking for help, one of their core wounds, that autonomy wound, that hyper-independence, you can tell that's been activated and triggered. So they're reasserting their independence by not asking for help, which means they're deactivating from the relationship, which means they are emotionally detaching from you. Number 3, when they're not willing to talk about any issues. Now, with some dismissive avoidance, they can talk about issues earlier in the relationship. Some never do. But when they stop talking about any issues or trying to even resolve conflict whatsoever, that's a sign that they are deactivating. And they're kicking that can down the road. They're trying not to be vulnerable. Conflict resolution brings emotional closeness. Emotional closeness is not safe for them. Every time you try to bring up an issue, it's dismissed, hence the dismissive and dismissive avoidant. Can't we talk about this another time? Not now, I'm busy. Let's talk about that later. Or why does it have to be so serious? And they're just brushing off all of your concerns and not resolving any conflict. And that leads to resentment, and it leads to you feeling like you're not being seen or heard in the relationship. Number 2, you're being neglected in the relationship, and you feel like you're being neglected in the relationship. What does that mean? It means that this person knows fully well what it is that you want and desire. They know what it is that you need in a relationship to feel loved and safe. But for whatever reason, they're choosing not to do it. They're choosing not to show up for you. Now, it could be because of their attachment wounds. It could be because of unresolved conflict. It could be for a lot of different reasons. But they're not showing up for you. And they're consistently not showing up for you. And in addition to that, they won't communicate with you why they're not showing up for you. There's no communication whatsoever. They're just not meeting your needs. And when you push it, they either dismiss it altogether or they give you empty promises that they're going to change, and then they never follow through with it. Your emotional needs are not being met. And at this point, when you've laid out those needs and you've told them what your needs and boundaries are, and they're still not showing up, engaging in this relationship and continuing it and not holding your boundaries, which are your limits of what you'll allow, well, you're just, unfortunately, diminishing your sense of self. You're not respecting your self-worth because you're saying, hey, it's okay to treat me like this. Even if you're not actively saying it, that's the message that you're sending yourself as well as the other person. And that can really chip away at your self-esteem, your confidence, and cause you to feel more and more anxious, because when you're not holding boundaries, you're essentially giving your power to the avoidant and saying, please show me that I'm worth something by putting in some effort, because I'm not showing up for myself by holding my boundaries. So when you're feeling neglected, it's probably time to walk away. Number 1, the relationship is causing you pain and it's affecting your mental health. You are feeling so incredibly anxious. You're feeling unloved. You're feeling like they don't care about you. You might be getting depressed, stressed out. You're losing your sense of self. You feel like you are losing yourself. You look back at the person you used to be, and you don't even recognize who you are now because you've become such an anxious mess that is not showing up for yourself, that is self-abandoning, holding no boundaries. You've told this person what it is that you feel and need, and they're not showing up for you. And at this point, you just feel like you're not cared about at all. And it is absolutely affecting you in numerous ways when it comes to your mental well-being. If this is happening, staying in the relationship will only cause more pain. It will only hurt you further, and you will only spiral more. This person knows what it is that you want and need. You told them, and you are feeling this way, and they're showing you no empathy and no effort. And when someone's really hurting that much, it becomes pretty apparent. They know it, but they're just choosing to focus on themselves and internally justifying why they're not showing up for you because they're avoiding accountability. It's time to exit if you're in this position, because that is an enormous act of self-kindness and self-respect to leave when you are not being treated well. You deserve more than breadcrumbs and half efforts. If the avoidant is going to change, they will show it to you through their actions and their words. If they are committing to it and following through with doing things like therapy and communicating more and changes in behavior, working on themselves, well, then there is cause for hope, because hope is based off of tangible evidence that something could change for the better. But if they're giving you no evidence that they're working on themselves, no evidence that it's going to change anytime soon, but you're still holding on, you're not really holding on to hope, you're holding on to wishing. Wishing is when you want something to be different, but there's no evidence that it's going to change for the better. And if you're in the land of wishful thinking and they keep hurting you, do yourself a favor, walk away, because the pain only gets worse. At least you can stop it now and work towards healing, because you don't have to subject yourself to this. You really don't.